All right, good morning. Welcome in. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Brought to you by all the Hail State and Hottie Toddy gear at the College Corner Store, Trey Station in Ridgeland. The Twitter handle, at Bo Bounds. Number 601-707-3750. That is powered by C Spire's iPhone 7 on their Max Range LTE network. Good morning. We welcome you in on a Tuesday, loaded up with three awesome interviews. Tom Luganbill at 7:30, SEC Insider Hit. We do that every day at 7:30. Good bit of Bama LSU, but we may hit some Tennessee balls and what's going on with that program. Good old Rocky Top. Wow. Mike Detillier stops by, LSU Insider. That's perfect. We know what's happening this weekend down in Baton Rouge, and it's we have some Roll Tide roll against LSU. So Detillier, one of the best guests that we have, 8:15, and then Brad Edwards. Brad Edwards at 9 a.m., ESPN Insider, and all of our guests join us on the New Belgium Fat Tire Hotline. Hope everybody had a happy Halloween. My kids had a great time last night. We did all sorts of things down on the water, by the boathouse. They dressed up as my daughter was a deer. My son was a hunter.
No, your daughter was a deer, but really, she told you she was a deer. She was actually dressed as a party animal.
Yeah, she was a party animal.
That's what she was.
And then Wendy dressed up as a deer too.
Party animals.
And she put like she did a wound on her, like somebody
that's what I was going to ask.
had shot her from the front shoulder through the back shoulder.
I was going to, since your son was a hunter, did they both have like bullseyes or targets on them?
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice.
And
y'all like trick or treat peer to peer, or like y'all get on?
Well, now you have to understand the average age on the lake is like 65, which is fine.
Right.
Wonderful people, but they are kind enough to do trick or treat for my kids.
Oh, that's nice.
That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
I mean, because they're long done with trick or treating, and I mean they've been empty nesters for years, but it's a wonderful group of people, and so my kids get to hit this little 6-house. You know, we don't really live in a neighborhood, so they, where you have a bunch of couples that from 30 to 50 years old. That's where I did. I lived in Belhaven, so I had 27 houses to go to, or however many it was back then. But yeah, they make it fun. And then we did s'mores over the fire pit and charcoal. We did acknowledge the burn ban. So I know the sheriff listens to the show, and we like the sheriff. We have a great relationship. And we did the charcoal fire pit, which is really cool. It's a beautiful look. In fact, I'll tweet that out on the Twitters. But had a good time. And we did hot dogs over the charcoal and s'mores, and then we had chili.
Oh, that's very nice.
That was awesome.
That's pretty good. It's
I told y'all I won 8 weeks ago. I made sure that I had plenty of Sam Adams Oktoberfest, so I sipped on a little Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
My neighborhood is the exact opposite.
Okay.
It is cops block it off. There are cars everywhere.
Because you got a bunch of people trick-or-treating?
Right. I mean, it's a neighborhood to go to in Clinton.
So you have a lot of kids, like 6, 8, 10, 12 years old?
So many. Had random people parking in my driveway. Had to get out there, tell them to move. I had to leave. Brazier's kid broke down behind MC. I had to go help him out. Everything was chaotic last night. But I didn't
Everything's always chaotic in your life.
I got things going on, man. I'm a busy guy.
But so you saw a bunch of kids though dressed up?
Yeah, they were good.
I think that's the coolest thing.
My nieces and nephews were there, so it was good.
One thing where social media has a lot of positives is it was fun to go through my Instagram account last night and see all the little kids dressed up. Because don't you remember when you were little?
Brings back memories.
And you were 6, 8, 10 years old, and how excited you were all day at school to go home and get in your costume. And not only go home and get in it, but you would get in it right when you got home, even though it wasn't going to get dark for 3.5 hours. and your parents, we're not going to take you maybe till whatever time that would be, 6:30 or 7 o'clock. But I saw some of the bets. Did you see some good ones last night?
Real good costumes.
Man, they get better. I guess clever, cooler. Nowadays people have more access.
Right.
You can order one online, or now you have these party shops in the area. And, I think back when I was a kid, 81, 82, 83, you kind of had what you had.
Yeah, Batman, Superman.
Or your mom,
Plus.
made one. Now, Wendy's real creative in that sense that I think she made at least 2 of the 3. But we had a great time, and I hope everybody had an awesome Halloween.
So you didn't hand out any candy?
I forgot to get a s'more. Huh. Oh, well, there's always tonight. Tonight would be another good night to do the charcoal fire pit and watch the Cubs outside.
The Indians, you mean?
And then the grill.
Yeah, watch the Indians.
No, watch the Cubs.
Oh, okay.
Cubs. We need some Lee Smith magic tonight so that the Cubs can extend this thing to tomorrow night. But I'm rooting for the Cubs. I don't claim that I've been watching the Cubs every year for years, but from 1980 to 90, I was a big Cubs fan. But they did rip my heart out, like I said, in 1984. I'm not sure I've recovered since then. I don't remember another team. I just wasn't invested enough in the NFL. Now, NBA, dude, that 82 76ers team for me with Dr. J and Moses Malone was serious. And I loved, even though I wasn't a Celtics or Lakers fan, how was I lucky to see Bird and Magic go head-to-head? Yes. But then I fell in love with the Pistons in the late 80s. Because I was an Isaiah guy coming straight out of Indiana. Isaiah in 81 coming straight out of Indiana, money. So those were the teams that I was pulling for. But I wasn't a Bulls fan. That was easy. That everybody was a Bulls fan.
Right.
Which takes me to this before
fan.
I get into LSU and Bama. Cam is complaining that he's not getting some of the, what would I say, targeting, roughing the passer,
right.
late hit type calls. And I think of 2 players that you couldn't breathe on throughout their career. There's 2 of them for my generation when I was growing up. Right. Everybody's different when they were born and whatever. Kind of your wheelhouse of 14 to 25 when you really watched a lot of sports, and it was kind of, you were a kid going into a grown man. But the 2 guys that you could not breathe on in football and basketball was Michael Jordan and Peyton Manning. And those 2 got, you couldn't breathe on Peyton's receivers. And if you just went by, sometimes you didn't even have to touch him. If you just brushed him, like brushed his jersey, you got a 15-yard flag. For Jordan, he got every call. And here are the 2 guys that don't get the calls because of the way they're built, because they are such physical specimens. LeBron James and Cam Newton. Do y'all realize how many free throws LeBron James should have attempted in the Golden State series?
But he's never going to get those calls.
And so basically you have to clothesline LeBron for him to go to the free throw line. And they would have arrested people had you done that to Jordan. They would have walked out on the court and arrested Draymond Green and that other guy, I can't remember. They would have arrested those guys for what they did to LeBron. And then for Cam, I do believe that Cam has a point. Cam has every right to be ticked. Because if it was Peyton Manning,
he'd be getting them.
Oh my goodness! Hell, they'd thrown people out Sunday. That leap when the guy dove towards his knee.
Well, I don't know. He didn't do that intentionally. No. He was blocked into him. He was trying to.
It still would have been called.
Yeah. Well, it should have been called. But to hear Cam get up there in the press conference and sincerely say that he doesn't feel safe And, we've got all this other stuff going on with the concussions and the CTE and all this other. I mean, I do like Cam, but
right.
But when the Saints play him, I want him to hit him. And I want him to hit him hard.
I think there's a difference in hitting him and allowing defenders to do what they can't do to other QBs.
Right. I mean, if they were to hit Breeze like that, there would be flags everywhere.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady,
Brady.
Yeah. The only one that may have, and he doesn't get hit as much as Roethlisberger because he's so big. All right. So we'll continue this discussion. I've got some this number on Bama LSU and how many players have been drafted that have played in the last 7 Bama LSU games is staggering. So we'll discuss that straight ahead. The Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by RPT and Rick's Pro Truck, the #1 Jeep and truck accessory stores in Mississippi with 2 locations, I-55 South and Flowood Lakeland Drive. We're live in the BankPlus studio. We welcome in our audience and our partners today. Tom Luganbill at 7:30, straight ahead the big board.